about down, man. Get with it, get it rolled over, man. This is your nut, man. I'm letting you know it, son.
Went for home. We wouldn't be right here, nigga. I got one of the biggest bloods in America with me, my nigga. You did. Atlanta, Georgia, nigga. You did what I'm trying to tell you. Today we gon' fight. Big shout out to Birdman and YMCMB Rich Gang, YSL for life. Oh, night. How does it feel to make a meal when you ain't even signed yet? I'm sitting here like fuck a deal, cause it ain't even crossed my mind yet.
We begin tonight with a developing story. Atlanta police are on the scene of a triple shooting, and one of the victims is a teenager. The shooting happened outside a barber shop, and tonight one victim is clinging to life. Channel 2's Jessica Jaglois is live at the scene where there's still a very heavy police presence. Jessica.
As you can see behind me, there is still quite the active scene here in southwest Atlanta. McDaniel Street is still closed, and it has been for more than 3 hours. That's because there are shell casings up and down the street. Now, I'm told one of the men who was shot, a man in his mid-20s, is in critical condition, but that his status could change for the worse overnight.
It appears that they were the intended target, but again, I'm not sure the reason of the shooting.
Atlanta police are investigating why two men in their mid-20s and a 14-year-old boy were shot outside of a barber shop in southwest Atlanta Saturday night.
Right now, it doesn't appear that they had anything connection to the business. They were just kind of hanging out, is what we appear.
Investigators say it appears to have been a drive-by shooting, and according to several witnesses we spoke with, an automatic weapon was used.
Heard like something like a semi-automatic or something. And I came running to the front of the gate because my Uncle Sammy be hanging.
Sugar Thomas is one of dozens of residents who weren't allowed into their apartments while police investigated. K-9 units were used to locate additional shell casings and other evidence.
Hey, what is going on with y'all, man? It is Black Balloon. And we're coming back with another video. So y'all already know what's going on. All right, y'all. Today we're here as a part of the murder culture series where, you know, we tackle a couple of different cases of people that we know were just, you know, that there was no conspiracy. We know exactly what happened. We know how it happened. For people that haven't been watching these videos, just to bring a little bit of a mix-up of content to this channel. But, you know, we still kind of break it down and weigh all possibilities at the end of the day of what we think might have happened. This video in particular is on Donovan Big Nut Thomas. Now, a lot of you may be aware of this case already, as it involves a huge state RICO that involves Young Thug and YSL. I'm not going to take this video to do like an entire documentary on YSL, you know, Young Thug RICO case. It's not really what this video is for. We're more just going into the death of Big Nut, why we think it happened. You know, just kind of going to a bit of the people that were involved, a little bit into Young Thug as well. I thought this would be a really good video early in this series to go ahead and drop, considering that it's very relevant. And the YSL RICO case is currently in the trial phase right now. Now, it is a bit of a mess if you've been keeping up with the case, but they haven't really got deep into the trial yet. So I'm sure a lot of why Big Nut was killed will come out soon, as in the actual real truth. Now, we're going to get into the speculation, and we're going to get into what I believe is the closest to why Thug ordered Big Nut to be killed. I got a supporting clip from JT, the Bigger Figure, If y'all know who he is, when I play the clip, some of y'all might recognize his face. I just kind of wanted to come in right here as a second introduction to the video. Before we go into the clip, just to let y'all know what's going on. You know, I'm going to treat this video as I've done in the past. I'll read the official narrative of how Big Nut was actually killed and who was involved that basically, you know, Young Thug ordered to do the hit. Now, all of this information is public information. You can look it up for yourself. But y'all already know I'm going to cover it toward the end of this video. But with that being said, we're going to get into this first clip because I feel like it's very important. And there was someone that was around both of them when it started. He was very good friends with Big Nut. So he's going to kind of give us a little bit of background of how this started. So check this out.
At Nut Mama house, the night he got killed, I'm the first that was at Nut Mama house. I'm the paid for where he buried at cemetery. I paid for that plot because I told his mama we ain't doing no fundraising, we ain't asking for nothing. You can't test my loyalty, bro, or talk any type of side about my business with Doug that I paid for. And now whatever happened after that, what you thought I was gonna do? Spend all them thousands of dollars on these songs and videos and then don't cash out? This the perfect time to cash out. Nut Mama, y'all ain't going to go see Nut Mama. When I'm in Atlanta, I go see Nut Mama. She come to my house. What is you talking about? You just mad that I'm a boss, that I pay for everything. I'm not no dumb. Boy, I'm from California. Yeah, I live in Atlanta. Yeah, I represent West Side Atlanta because I own my house there. I don't own Cali. So if I'm just name dropping Cali, that's just because where I was born. I own nothing over there. I own my West Side Atlanta, and they're gonna shoot the I want to take bullets by it, no police involved, and RIP Nut forever. And whatever my business with Thug was, Thug done that. Might not be this year. That shit happened with Nut, nigga, in 2015. 2015, nigga. All these years later, this nigga Thug is paying for it. The streets already knew. Now the world know. And this is facts. Whether he win or lose, that ain't up to me. That's up to God, the judge, the jury, the DA, and his lawyers. You hear me? But I made a post a few minutes ago about you niggas keep leaving comments like, why you posting Thug? I thought you fuck with Nut. Nigga, me, Nut, and Thug was all together, nigga. Before me and Nut came together, me and Thug came together. But me and Nut was already, you know, networking. But nigga, I'm not no Crip or no Blood. You know what I mean? And then Birdman came to town. And then Birdman put up the money for that lifestyle song in the video with him and Rich Homie Quan. Boom, the Rich Gang, new Rich Gang started. Nut was fucking with Quan. But he was cool with Thug. But he had power over Quan. And then disputes came. Once the disputes came, it wasn't good business no more. The hate and the jealousy. Birdman want Quan, nigga, to bow down, nigga, and come up under the Rich Gang. And Nut was like, no, nigga, you was not finna sign that 360 deal ass shit, nigga, and be a broke rapper up under Birdman. Sorry about that. True story. So what did that leave me at? Nigga, I chose sides with Nut. Nigga, but before the murder, I was the nigga that was still with Birdman and Thug that could tell Nut this was happening over here. And that bitch ass nigga Pee-wee, nigga start hating. Cause nigga, I put up all the money, nigga, while Thug was up under the Rich Gang, nigga, he accepted my racks, nigga. My 30 bands, nigga, we did 7 songs, nigga, and did some video footage, nigga. Photo shoots and shit. But before I could drop it, the murder happened. Now the beef is on. Nigga, so I know, nigga, I was in the middle of this shit. The next day, when Nut got killed on the 15th, on the 16th in the morning at 8 a.m., I was the first nigga at Nut Mama house. And she grabbed me, said, they killed my baby, nigga, and pulled me on her bed, nigga, and held me like a fucking kid, crying that they killed her son. Nigga, don't play with me, nigga. My thoroughbred footsteps in this shit, nigga, is thorough. So when I see them little comments, I just say, let me talk to all of them niggas. Cause can't no nigga in Atlanta tell me nothing. No nigga in no state could tell me nothing. See, when you depend on niggas, that's when they can control you. When you ask a gang or a block to help you, defend you, that's when nigga got say so. Can't no nigga in Atlanta say they shot for me, punched a nigga for me, helped me with none of my smoke. Nigga, I handled that shit.
All right, y'all. So for those of you that may have not, been aware of how it all started, that clip pretty much gives you insight to why, some of the problems started between Young Thug, Big Nut, and Birdman. Now, anytime you ask someone the questions on, why was Nut killed, what truly happened, you'll get a few different responses depending on who you ask or the source that you go to. I went directly to the source that provides, the facts about it. And, it's kind of speculation still unless you hear it from Nut himself or Thug himself or Birdman himself. It's closest to, the facts of what's probably going to come out in the trial, because it comes from the case itself. The journalist, I forget the dude's name, it's like Chittle or something like that, who basically reports on a lot of stuff out of Atlanta, and he was on Vlad TV, and he kind of talked about the real reason why Nut was actually killed. Now, before going into that, real quick, you have to talk about Birdman. We have to bring up Birdman in this case, because Birdman is not part of the RICO. He's not a part of anything when it comes to Thug and YSL. Now, this murder is not the only reason why there is a RICO against Thug and YSL. There's a lot of other shootings, a lot of other stuff that happened that took place to where, the DA was just like, all right, we finally got enough. They just keep doing it. It keeps going on and on, a bunch of gang violence, gang activity. So boom, we hit them with a RICO. We put a stop to everything that we've been collecting over the last, 10 years or so. The murder, is probably the most high profile out of the entire RICO. That was like the biggest murder case that they kind of had pinned on Thug and the dudes that did it, the 4 other dudes that was in the car, in that Infiniti that Thug had rented. I know y'all remember that. Thug rented the Q50 Infiniti back in 2015, just a few days before Nut was killed, and ordered 4 people to go and do the hit. I think it was 4 or 5, but we'll get into that exact narrative when I read it. So back to Birdman, right? Now, we all remember what happened with Birdman and Lil Wayne. Birdman didn't want to pay up Lil Wayne, and it just seemed like it was some of the most, I don't even know what to call it, because we all know how this industry goes. It's a dirty game, and money, or as they say, the love of money being the root of all evil, plays right in the middle of the dirty game that these artists, these execs, these producers play when it comes to, their label, their artists, so on and so on. It's the devil's game at the end of the day. And we know if Birdman was willing to basically use Young Thug and his homies to go at Lil Wayne, if he's willing to use Thug and his homies to shoot up Wayne tour bus to try to kill him so he doesn't have to pay Wayne what was rightfully owed to Wayne, Wayne being everything for Cash Money, everything for Young Money. There wouldn't be no Cash Money without Wayne. Hell, there wouldn't be a Thug without Wayne. Thug even said Wayne was his favorite artist. In the beginning, you could hear Wayne influence all over Thug's music. He really, he kind of modeled everything after Wayne. But back to the point, if Birdman was really willing to basically try and order a hit on Wayne just because of money that he was rightfully owed, what do you think Birdman would do to be able to, basically usher in, like how, how they had the whole Rich Gang thing going back in 2013, 14, right after Thug dropped Danny Glover and the Lifestyle song. That was the biggest thing in rap at that time. So Birdman wasn't trying to have anything in the middle of that messing up the money, as far as how the situation goes with Nut and Rich Homie Quan. And now, I don't know if y'all remember this. Remember, these guys, bro, I don't know what they be thinking when they be calling each other while somebody in jail and telling all their business. I know it's a little blurry, but I'm going to read it to you. This was a jailhouse call that was recorded when Birdman called Pee Wee about him basically handling business on trying to shoot up Wayne tour bus. And it says, "Time for you to come out here and get your money. You did everything you could do, boss. It's eye-opening, strictly business, man." And that's what Birdman said to Pee Wee. Think about that. They literally on the phone while Buddy locked up. And he telling him it's time for you to come out here and come get your money for, basically following Wayne tour bus after a show and shooting the shit up. Trying to hit Wayne, which, thankfully he wasn't in the tour bus. So think about the extent that they were willing to go through back then. So obviously Nut at the time was a manager of Rich Homie Quan. That's why JT the Bigger Figure said Nut had power over Quan. But he was getting in between business with Rich Gang. So, YFN Lucci wasn't, I guess you could call him a nobody at this time. He wasn't a part of any of this. The beef with Lucci came after the murder. Another one of the rumors to why Nut was killed was that someone around Nut ran off with a watch or, up to 1.5 million worth of either a watch or something, that basically Birdman owned. That's why I say depending on what source you go to, you'll get a couple different answers on why Nut was killed. From what I found that Big Nut was actually already an informant. Which also goes back to why there was a tweet where Thug had said people that talk in court should be killed. Now, they have that on record. That's a part of basically the evidence that's against Young Thug and him actually ordering the hit on Big Nut. But we know in the age that we live in today, people tell on themselves. If it's not, directly, it's indirectly by, tweeting something like Thug had to say. And if I'm not mistaken, that was after the hit. So that made it even more incriminating. He was already working for the DA here in Atlanta. Now, y'all already know how the streets goes. Even if, people get just a slight whiff of you that you working with the feds or you some kind of informant, you'll be checked off the list very soon after that, which is why, they have that recording and, Thug basically getting the okay from the guy that is the head of Sex Money Murder, and he is locked up. He's not even locked up in the state of Georgia. In that convo, which I don't know if they had, I'm assuming, I don't know if this was through mail or if this was on the phone, but if they got the actual text of what was said between Thug and the leader of Sex Money Murder, he said something about like sacrifices have to be made, something. I think I had screenshotted a picture of the actual text that was either, heard on the phone, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't through mail. I'm pretty sure this is something where they were trying to code how they were talking, and the phones obviously are tapped in federal prisons or wherever this dude is housed at, who's the leader of Sex Money Murder. So that's how they got the actual text of what was said back and forth between Thug and that dude. So, it was basically a hit that was approved from the leader of Sex Money Murder, which is a well-known blood gang. Now, to give y'all a little bit more detail and support about Thug and the guy Kyle Ory, that's his name, the leader of Sex Money Murder that is currently in jail, the guy that Young Thug had a conversation with after the hit took place. Now it says Young Thug's rise to stardom ran in parallel with a gang war between feuding set of Bloods. Conflict erupted in 2015 following the assassination of Bloods gang leader Donovan Peanut Thomas. Prosecutors alleged that Williams, Young Thug, rented the car used by 5 gang members, including rising rap star Yak Gotti. If y'all remember Yak Gotti was the one that was standing on top of YF and Lucci car when Lucci was inside the mall. It kind of like went viral on Instagram. And he was one of the guys that was a part of, he was in a car when they did the drive-by on Thomas back in 2015, also with the guy YSL SB, who also, he just got arrested, I think that was about a year ago, for another murder that they did under the highway in Atlanta as well. He basically went on a little chase. Helicopter was chasing him. I think he was in a white Audi. He got out of a car in a neighborhood and they arrested him on camera. Like, the video is online, you can see it.
And earlier this week, a 23-year-old identified by the Fulton County Medical Examiner as Shymel Dranks was found shot to death. Police found his body inside a car Monday night after a witness reported the car because it was parked on Windsor Street underneath the I-20 overpass.
And all of the parties having been involved in this incident did belong to a criminal street gang.
Woolfolk says a car with 3 known gang members in it pulled up alongside the victim's car, shot him multiple times, and sped off. One suspect remains on the run. The 2 others were tracked down and arrested in East Point Thursday following a chase.
They tried to throw weapons out of the window, as well as narcotics were recovered inside of the vehicle, so this obviously did not work out for them in the fact that they were both brought into custody.
So he is down for 2 murders, and that's just what they have on file. There could be more. So it says, according to an indictment, Williams spoke with Ori, the leader of the cult-like gang Sex Money Murder, shortly after Thomas's death. Prosecutors appear to have captured a call to Ori in jail, in which the hit is purportedly discussed. A few days after talking to Ori, Young Thug went on social media to argue that the people who get right into the courtroom and tell the God honest truth don't get it. Y'all niggas need to get fucking killed, bro, from me and YSL. Now, that's what I was just talking about. Thug actually tweeted that right after the hit, basically, a couple days. So Thug was already kind of telling on himself. It says, bringing charges against a group like the Young Slime Life gang proved challenging. Prosecutors had to disentangle YSL, the music label, which is an imprint of Warner Music, from YSL, the street gang, and outgrowth of South Atlanta organized crime around Cleveland Avenue. The latest iteration of previous gangs like Raise on Cleveland and 30 Deep. Thomas's murder divided Atlanta into 2 warring camps, YSL and YFN, another blood gang in Atlanta loyal to Thomas, which goes to the Inglewood family Bloods, which consists of a bunch of people here in Atlanta. That's basically the name of, the set that Lucci, Bloody J, Big Nut, that was, basically the set name that they were under. Obviously, YFN is fronted by another popular rapper, Rayshawn Bennett, known as YFN Lucci. The conflict only accelerated during the pandemic, though violence appears to have slowed down since the May 9th indictment and arrest. Here we get a little bit into Lucci. Lucci is in Fulton County Jail. Some were carefully isolated from Young Thug, awaiting trial on gang charges and a felony murder charge from a botched 2021 drive-by shooting on YSL gang members. Now, if y'all remember that, this was actually very wild. This was a wild shootout. Like, when I saw it and heard what happened, sometimes you just can't believe shit like this. Because it says Lucci allegedly drove the car when their targets killed the trigger man and returned fire. So basically, they were shooting at YSL. Whoever they were shooting at, a part of YSL, they shot back and killed the dude who was shooting at them. Shot him in the head. Then, while they was driving, Lucci ditched the body in the middle of the street and sped away. And the thing is, there's a 911 call from the girl that called the police that saw it all. She was like walking down the street, and she saw Lucci them flying by and throw Buddy body out in the middle of the street after he had got shot.
Oh, we need an ambulance. Oh, somebody is laying out. Somebody, I don't know if he barely.
Let me connect you. Stay on the line.
Somebody just threw him out of the car.
Let me connect you to the ambulance.
Huh? He's still trying to fight for his life.
EMS, what's the address of the emergency?
Baby, can y'all please get an ambulance here? This man is dying. He's shot in the head. He's just took his last breath, man.
What street are you on, ma'am? Can you give him your location, please, for the ambulance to give the guy some help?
What is his address?
Wow, just wild shit from people that were basically multi-millionaires. So it just lets you know how deep this stuff ran in the streets. It says the arrest of alleged YSL gang member Christian Big Briss Eppinger on February 7th ended in a bloody affair. It says with Eppinger allegedly firing 6 shots into an Atlanta cop during the arrest. Like, this dude literally shot the cop 6 times. I think one of them hit him in the head. And this is what really got them on the road to make sure they ended this whole YSL thing, because this once dude shot this cop, it was over. Like, DA was like, all right, this shit is over. We finna go ahead and arrest everybody. Y'all tripping now. And it says Eppinger's arrest started a 90-day clock ticking, with court rules demanding an indictment before then to continue to hold him. Willis, the district attorney, used it to build a broader YSL gang case.
During a virtual court hearing this morning, a Fulton County judge denied bond for 22-year-old Christopher Eppinger. Arrest warrants released today. Detail officer David Rogers attempting to arrest Eppinger Monday near Old Hapeville Road with a warrant for a 2021 armed robbery and assault case. According to the warrants, Eppinger pushed Rogers away, pulled out a gun, and shot the officer 4 times in the shoulder, once in his leg and once in the back of his head. Another officer then returned fire, and in the warrants, Eppinger is described as attempting to shoot the second officer while running away.
He was on probation for an armed robbery that was played down to robbery.
In court today, prosecutors described Eppinger as being convicted in 2016 when he was 17 years old for robbery and aggravated assault. Court records show he was sentenced as a juvenile to serve 4 years behind bars and then 6 years on probation.
And Mr. Eppinger is a documented member of YSL street gang.
Prosecutors also informed the judge Eppinger is a member of the Young Slime Life, or YSL gang. In the warrants, APD described the gang as having a stronghold on the Cleveland Avenue corridor where the shooting happened Monday.
That warrant that the officers were seeking to execute stems from an incident of October 12, 2021.
Officers attempted to arrest Eppinger Monday for the crime described in this report, where he allegedly robbed a man at gunpoint along Cleveland Avenue and, working with an accomplice, took the man's Rolex watch, designer wallet, jewelry, iPhone, and SUV.
This is what really gave them like the go ahead. They was like, all right, y'all doing way too much in the city now. Like, they were getting ignorant with it. And so he's pretty much done. To kind of wrap this up, it says they're sending a message to every young kid today in the city who hopes to grow up and become a successful musician, that whenever you go on YouTube and the internet and create as your art form, you're gonna have that used against you later. So, you know, to kind of go ahead and wrap this video up without trying to, you know, get into the entire indictment. Like I said earlier in the video, I didn't want to use this video to go into everything, because this is a lot of public information that you could pretty much, if you're under a rock and you haven't heard none of this stuff, I'm sure it'll interest you enough to go and find out more about it, because there's a lot of different things that happened that came, you know, that brought this basically, you know, there's a lot of stuff that happened that just brought this to a tip. Everything, it started getting uncontrollable in the city, and they decided to just go ahead and name the indictment for YSL and Young Thug, one of their leaders. I think we have kind of really come to the closest conclusion that we're going to come to as far as why Donovan Peanut Thomas was killed, to kind of kick off this whole case. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we will find out the whole truth when the trial comes. So, you know, rather not we find that out, I guess that'll be left up to the trial, you know, in the next couple of months or so, or however long this trial is going to take, because clearly it's going to go on for a while, because there's just a lot of shenanigans going on with the case. So, you know, I thought this would be a pretty interesting video to bring to the channel as part of this murder culture series. As always, y'all let me know, you know, any more suggestions that y'all have, and I'll get to working on it. Also, you know, I got a couple other videos that, you know, I'm working on, and we're going to get posted up to the channel on Patreon really soon. You know, I really appreciate y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed that video. Y'all let me know if I missed anything in the comments. And like I said, any future videos y'all want me to do. With that being said, It's Black Balloon, and I'm gonna see y'all soon.
Y'all back down, man. Get with it, get it rolled over, man. This is your nut, man. I'm letting you know it's Saturday.